I hear my grandmother say in a deep, loving Arabic voice, Ya Dima ta'ali, which means, Dima, come here. I am 5 years old, playing in her home. I put my doll down and run to the kitchen, anxious to find out what my grandmother wants to tell me. As I get there, she motions to me to get closer to her, and as I do, I watch her as she leans towards the kitchen table. She picks one of her magazines, carefully rolls it, and then slowly ties it with a red ribbon. She looks at me and she said, "Today, we're going to play a new game. We're going to celebrate the day you graduate from college. I made you a graduation diploma. Just run to me when I call your name." I watched her as she took a few steps backwards. She stood straight, raised her head, was holding the diploma as if it was the most valuable thing that she could give me. And I heard her announce in a loud voice to a large audience, thousands of people in our imagination, and say, "Help me to congratulate the next graduate, Dima Ghawi." And then she motioned to me to get closer to her. And as I did, she firmly shook my hand. I could see tears in her eyes. And then I heard her say in Arabic, "Mabruk ana fakhura fiki," as she was handing me the diploma. I stood there. I didn't understand what all of that meant. What is a diploma? What do I do with the graduation? Why is my grandmother so happy? But really all that mattered was that I was having fun with my favorite person in the world. Years later, I learned the secret behind this graduation game. My grandmother was not permitted to go to school. As a little girl in the Middle East, she was expected to stay home and help her mom with housework, to cook and clean all day. But her 5 brothers went to school every day. They woke up, put on their school uniform, and then after they came back from school, they would be sitting, and actually she's the one sitting next to them, listening to every single word that they said, as if her ears were like magnets wanting to catch every single piece of information. She taught herself the sound and the shape of alphabet. It was very important for her to read magazines and follow her favorite movie stars. Reading represented independence to her, and one of those magazines magically transformed in her kitchen to a dream of a formal education, beautifully tied in a red ribbon. It was the symbol of empowerment, the challenge to the norm, and a desire of a better future, starting with me. My grandmother was very aware of the cultural limitations that I was going to face. She understood the expectations that the community has of me. And she was always concerned that just like these limitations stopped her, that they would try to stop and discourage me as well. That's why it was so important for her to plant the seed and the belief that I can graduate early on. That's why she kept playing this game with me over and over and over and over again. The graduation game became our favorite activity. I even memorized the announcement word by word. It was so much fun. My grandmother passed away when I was 9 years old. But the belief that she gave me never left, never went away. The path was definitely not easy, and it required many sacrifices. Years later, right before I finished the Tawjihi, which is our Jordanian high school, my oldest uncle called and he said he wanted to talk to me about my future. I immediately felt so anxious. He never talked directly to me before. He's a very wealthy man, successful, respected in our community and family. He has an international business, travels to Europe, Asia, and to the US. But I also felt just because he was interested to help me, that gave me so much gratitude that he is interested in my future. I was wondering the entire time, what is his vision of success for me, until we sat and we talked. I remember as we were sitting, my uncle was smoking a cigar, and he said, I heard that you're interested in graduating from a 4-year college. But I also know that there is a big demand in the market for executive assistants. I recommend for you to enroll in a secretarial school, take few speed typing courses, and then focus on becoming an assistant. At that moment, I felt so deflated. I felt very disconnected from my uncle. I was on a crossroad between his advice that would push me to a whole different direction compared to where my heart wanted to go, and to the belief that my grandmother gave me that I can graduate. I could remember her voice as she was announcing my name so loud to the invisible audience. I remember how much fun it was and the excitement that I felt after I received my diploma. So I decided not to listen to him. Instead, I decided to apply to the College of Business at the University of Jordan. As I was completing my application, I was reading the answers over and over and over again, maybe like over 10 times. It was just so hard for me to let it go. So I held it and I prayed. And I remember as I dropped it in the mail, I could feel my grandmother's spirit surrounding me. I could remember her diploma, her beautiful diploma that she gave me. But just the fact that I applied led to even more things related to the story. So over a month later, I was checking the mail, and I saw that I got a letter from the University of Jordan. It's the logo on it and addressed to me. I was so excited because I've been checking the mail every single day, even the day after I put the mail in the mail, my application in the mail. So I opened it very fast, and I was looking for just one phrase. I just wanted to see one phrase, and I wanted to read, "Pleased to inform you." And as I opened it, the phrase was there. I was accepted to the university. Even with that, I still needed to hold on to my belief that I can graduate. The first semester, one day, I was less than 10 minutes late to my 4 p.m. curfew, and my father was so mad. He said, "You're not allowed to complete your education. Stay home and I'll find you a husband." My father was not comfortable with the fact that I was attending a co-ed university. Just the image that I'm surrounded by young men disturbed him. He is educated. He's a medical doctor, but he never understood the significance of education to me. At that moment, I felt as if he was pulling my diploma away from me, but I still could also feel how it beautifully felt when my grandmother used to place it in my hand. So I started begging and begging and begging, day and night, continued to beg, and he agreed finally. But the threats never ended, and most of the time for no logical reason. Less than a year later, through a traditional family introduction, I got engaged at the age of 19 to a 30-year-old relative, and my father was thrilled. My one condition to that marriage was that I would be allowed to complete my education. The plan was that 1 week after our wedding, we would both move together to San Diego, California, to follow his career aspirations. That meant that my education had to get interrupted. I needed to focus on understanding the American culture, improving my English, and learning to drive on these huge California freeways. It was difficult. It was actually more than difficult. But every single time I felt how hard it was, every time I felt that I was going the wrong direction, I remembered my grandmother. I remembered the tears of joy in her eyes. I remembered her voice, and that gave me the determination to keep moving forward. I took English classes and I decided to apply to San Diego State University. I remember after I applied, just a few months later, I got a letter in the mail from SDSU's logo on it with my address to me. I was so excited. I opened it very, very fast. I was looking for my favorite phrase, pleased to inform you, but it wasn't there. I was rejected. Again, I felt so horrible. But I couldn't give up. There's no way for me to give up. The belief that I had was so strong. At that moment, I remembered how it felt when I was running to my grandmother, how fun it was when I was accepting my diploma. And that gave me the determination that I am going to take more English classes and I'm going to apply one more time. And I did. When I got the letter in the mail and I opened it, it did have the phrase, pleased to inform you, I was accepted. As you know, getting into the university, that comes with its own challenges. And mine was English. I was very slow in reading and writing. I would be in an exam room, and now, as I am still half done with my exam, my classmates would be already done, and they would pass their paper to the professor and leave. But every graded paper that I got back, it felt like a mini baby diploma that was getting me one step closer to my graduation. And after hundreds and hundreds of these mini diplomas, it was my graduation day. I was standing in line. I was next to receive my diploma. My heart was beating. I was so excited. And as I heard the announcer say, the next graduate, Dima Ghawi, I could hear my grandmother as she was announcing my name. And as I took the first step to walk towards the dean to accept my diploma, I remember how I was running in her kitchen. And as I shook the hand of the dean, and I heard him say congratulations, I could hear my grandmother telling me in Arabic and congratulating me, Mabruk ana fakhura fiki, which means congratulations, I am so proud of you. My belief became my reality. I graduated, and I graduated again with a master's degree. The fun game that my grandmother created in her kitchen resulted in me becoming the first educated woman in our family. Now, many years later, I get ultimate joy every time I graduate, regardless if it's my graduation ceremony or I'm attending to cheer for friends or family. Even kindergarten graduations excite me. I feel like a 5-year-old girl all over again, playing a life-changing game in my grandmother's kitchen. I learned that as a dream becomes a belief, it becomes unstoppable. It's one thing to tell others to dream, but it's a whole different thing to help them believe that they can achieve that dream. And a powerful way to do that is to help them by making it tangible, by helping them to see it, feel it, experience it over and over and over again. Then it becomes so powerful that would allow them to take actions, difficult actions, and it would become their reality. Our beliefs become our reality. So to inspire you as you are shaping your tomorrow, I have a gift for you from my grandmother. your own diploma. To remind you that to transform your dream into a belief, you need to make it tangible. Then it would become your reality. My grandmother would be so proud to learn that every single woman in our family that came after me graduated from college, and many with a master's degree. It's not even a question in our family right now if women should get an education. It is our new norm. It is the healthy norm. It is my grandmother's dream come true. My grandmother would also be proud of one more thing. She loved to read her magazines cover to cover. She would never have imagined to one day open one of those magazines and see an article about me, about that work that I'm doing to empower others, just like she empowered me. But the best part, she wouldn't just see my picture, she would see her picture too. Grandma, أنا فخورة فيكي.